I hope everybody is well. This is Lyrata for the Institute for Global Transformation. Today we will be continuing our examination or exploration into thought for the purpose of being able to gather will, the ability to harness or connect with, not harness, the mental plane, and to learn how to wield our will. It's a very interesting lesson. So, and some of it is it's a bit abstract, okay? Bear that in mind. It would have to be because we're moving into areas that heretofore we may not go too often, if at all. So just keep that in mind. So what we're doing is pushing back the boundaries, are we not? We are pushing back our ring past knot, that invisible boundary of what we consider to be reality, the known, our environment. We're pushing back those walls, we're expanding, growing, which will lead to evolving. So let's do it. So over the past few months, we've considered the impact of our thoughts on our environment. We've been looking at step by step different aspects that bridge the gap between emotional polarization and mental polarization. Emotional polarization, that place where humanity for eons has hung out because we're instinctual. We didn't have the level of awareness that we have now. And hold on. Yeah, this AI stuff on Zoom. So let me not run down the road with these thoughts, but this is new territory for us. And it is part of the divine plan, as we move into it, because we're growing. Bottom line, we're growing. We've been moving at a rather rapid pace. Surprisingly, to the guardians of this human race on the inner levels. And fortunately for us, they find us moving so fast that they have to come, we've exceeded their timeline, okay? We've exceeded their timeline, their sense of timeline. And we'll be talking about that as we go through this. So let's get started and get into this together. I welcome everybody. And I want to say, before I move on too quickly, is that there's an awareness, people, all of those who listen to this video, there's an awareness that there has been a glitch in the matrix, so to speak, and that link that was being sent out to connect with me was the wrong link. Many have told me, Lyrata, why is it I keep getting host is in another room or something to that effect? It was the wrong link. Okay. As of September, the link and me will be able to connect. We'll be able to connect. Okay. It's finally understood as to what was going on. And who's to say? Who's to say, why these things happen? There's always a reason. So, fortunately, I hope to be able to see all of you who are interested and want to show up at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every third Sunday. So, today, what we're going to be doing is looking into how we formulate thought. What is the process of creating thought? Is thought something that we can ever plumb the depths of? Okay? Can we ever really understand it, comprehend it, learn to the point that, comprehend it to the point that we can wield the necessary power within our being to be able to utilize thought on higher levels? It's been said that, and it has been said that, I think, in probably, if not the last video, the one before, that a form is conceived as consciousness. A form is conceived as consciousness. A form has consciousness. All forms have consciousness. One may not think so with something like this beautiful specimen of the mineral kingdom. But the difference is in terms of levels of consciousness is according to how quickly or how slowly they vibrate, and what do they hold within it? What kind of energy do they hold within it? Okay? Minerals radiate. Minerals, like trees or the plant kingdom, let's just put it that way. The mineral kingdom, like the plant kingdom and the human kingdom, all are conscious. The vibration of consciousness, how it oscillates, how it the atoms, how they work together, how they vibrate, distinguishes our ability, our ability to be able to connect with each of these beings. Okay? Everything has a consciousness. A seed has consciousness. It's an apple seed, has consciousness. We can connect with each of these beings. And if we hold them in our awareness that they are beings, and I know most of you who are coming to these sessions have this awareness already, okay? But hopefully, maybe somebody who likes to get into one of those deer tractors and tear everything down to throw up a McDonald's would understand that they're dealing with a consciousness. And the ability, don't let me go there, the ability to connect with this energy creates a conversation, a respect, a bond, a willingness to understand what needs to happen. Because then it's being done with respect to this beautiful kingdom. Okay? Okay. So, going back to that sentence, a form is conceived as a consciousness, and it brings with it, its will, or its focused, it brings rather, I'm sorry, excuse me, it brings its will, this consciousness brings its will and its focused intent on to mental matter. Now, don't get confused with those two words, mental matter and matter. Okay? We think of matter as substance. Excuse the finger. We think of matter as substance. In this case, we're talking about matter, the aspect of another level of matter, mental matter. Okay? So a form is conceived as consciousness, and it brings its will and its focused intent onto the mental plane, some aspect of the mental plane. Okay? So now there's a connection then between thought and will, right? Thought and will. What's the dynamic? What's the connection between thought and will? Let it be known, as you may have heard by now in your educational pursuits, that there is no original thought. All thought is really aspects of knowledge and wisdom that has already been here, and we pipe into it. Okay? We pick it up, maybe, from the collective mind. We catch it, capture it, get an aha moment, possibly, and think it's our thought. And because it's moving through now our particular prism, what we do is attach aspects of, let's call it colorizations, aspects of our own flavor, our own being. We attach that to these thoughts that we've captured, and then we think it's our thought. Get really happy in our environment with the thought, thinking that, oh, this is our thing. So there's no original thought. So our ideas are recycled, one. The other thing to think about is that that's the thought side. The will side is we as yet do not have the power to wield the will. According to how it should really be used, utilized, accessed. So, and why is that? Because in most cases, most of us, if not truly, I would say 3/4 of our population, of our world population, is really humming below the frequency of spirit and matter, where thoughts are conceived. We're humming, vibrating, living beyond a lower frequency, or below, rather, a lower frequency. So we have room to move into. We have space to occupy, okay? So let's take a moment to note the difference between thought or a thought form and will, okay? I'm going to ask us to now close our eyes for a brief mini meditation where we begin to see things from a different vantage point than this horizontal focus. And resting in your body with your eyes closed. Focus your energy in your lower abdomen, your dantian, and take a deep breath. Take another deep breath in that dantian. Exhale through the mouth. And a third deep breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth and send the energy down through your feet and see, like roots of a tree, yourself being anchored from your hips, thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet, toes, by roots within your being going down into the earth, stabilizing, connecting, becoming at one with Mother Earth. Feel that stability, that safety, that stillness. Take another deep breath, placing your energy between the solar plexus, heart, connecting with your emotional body, seeing it as an oval around that upper portion of your body. And becoming calm and serene. Exhaling through the mouth. Taking a second deep breath in this area. Calming the emotional body. The first series of deep breaths, we were stabilizing the physical body. Now we've connected with our emotional body. And take another deep breath, moving into the head, the mental body. Seeing its aura as a circle around the head that includes the throat. It may include the throat. Yes. And here you are becoming focused, alert, aware as you exhale and inhale. Feel the vastness of this head, energy of the head center. And I'm not speaking about the crown at this time, just the mental body, rather. And a third or fourth deep breath, however many it's been, it's fine. And looking out from and through the forehead, the center of the forehead, see the Ajna center. See it as a bright golden sun, small, bright golden sun. And move your awareness into that bright golden sun. And looking from the Ajna center back into and through the center of the head. See the connection between the Ajna and the actual center of your head. See it lined with pathway of lights connecting the two. White light. This still anchored within the Ajna center, aware that there's something deeper within the distance, and standing still within that Ajna center and the bright within the bright golden sun. Take a few breaths. Think inwardly about your physical body. As you were when you were within that lower abdomen or dantian, and holding the frequency of that physical body within your awareness here in the Ajna center. Take a few deep breaths, and any residual energies that still might be not yet connected, draw them up through the breath into the Ajna center. any residual energies of that physical that you sought to integrate or you're seeking to integrate. Bring it up into the Ajna center. See it moving on its own without you moving to the physical, back down into the physical. Stay within the Ajna center. See it magnetically being attracted into the Ajna center through the breath and through the thought. Now, within the Ajna center, shift your awareness to the emotional body and magnetically attract any energies left over into the Ajna center through the breath and through the thought. Take as many breaths as you need and take the time you need. There is no rush. And now shift your awareness within the Ajna center and magnetically hold the energy of the mental body in your consciousness and magnetically attract any residual energies of the Ajna center into the Ajna, any residual energies of the mental body into the Ajna center. And know that you have now integrated your 3 lower bodies into the Ajna center, which allows you to become receptive to the soul, to the downflow of divine energies from the soul. And know that here within the Ajna center, etherically, you are able to connect with the etheric body of humanity. And hold the awareness that the Ajna center stands 3 to 6 inches beyond the brow, the forehead. Now, aspire with love to the soul. No need for a sense of direction. Simply hold the awareness, the thought form of connecting with soul. And through the direction of your thought, it is done. And sound a silent Om. And move your consciousness now straight through that pathway of lights. See a bright golden sun in the center of the head, 2 to 3 inches behind the eyes. And move your consciousness into that bright golden sun. Sounding that silent Om. For a moment, consider your physical environment. And imagine the invisible connections, they may become visible through the mind's eye, of all the nodules and pathways of the etheric plane behind this physical environment. That connects everything to everything, everything to everyone, everything to all things. Imagine this etheric plane with its tiny particles of light all around it. See it lit up. Take a few moments to visualize this frequency of activity that interpenetrates your physical environment. Through these pathways and byways, we pick up thought forms. We sense the emotions of others. We connect us even to the ancestors. Those in form and those out of form. In the various planes become available to us. This etheric plane gives us access to everything. There is no distance. Then imagine in a higher frequency the astral plane, occupying the same time and space as both the etheric and the physical. Imagine it as being composed of substance resembling tiny particles of colored water, this astral plane, that are constantly assuming relationships to form fields of force around any thought, any action taking place within the environment. Consider an ideal common to yourself. Might be something you never were aware of before because you may not have ever taken or had the time to look from this particular vantage point. Be honest. Be open. Censor nothing. And imagine the field of astral force around this particular ideal that is common to yourself that you've chosen. Imagine the field of astral force around it. What color is it? What is its vibrational energy? What are its components? Is it timid or assertive? How do you experience it? Now identify as soul in the mind. Move into the mind, the mental body, and identify as soul. Listen to the silent sound behind that word as you as it comes, as you hear it mentally. As the soul, focus on that ideal that's common to you, and wielding the will, attract into your periphery those overshadowing ideas that are directly related to that ideal. Attract into your periphery those overshadowing ideas that are directly related to that ideal. Then, as the soul, via the etheric lines of light, see those etheric lines of light. Observe your relationship with those ideas. Via those relationships, observe the motivating purpose of those ideas. The impression of will that set them into and maintains that motion of substance. Via those relationships, observe the motivating purpose of those ideas, the impression of will that set them into and maintains that motion of substance. Mm. Having grasped the purpose of those ideas, gradually relax the attention and return to normal focus. Take a moment to jot down anything noted that you want to be able to reflect back on. Very important meditation, I must say, especially when done. And by the way, when we do these meditations, please, even though you might be a solitaire, okay, or working with a group, but if you're a solitaire, always see yourself as part of a group, the group, okay? The wider group of light workers, the wider group of world servers, all over the world, everywhere, who may recognize each other in passing, who may be working in a building, of course, with others, and may not know it. Become aware of that group that you are a part of. Always know that you're never alone when you go into these meditations. So our will is derived from the divine spark within us, that spirit within us, that God within us, that we each carry because we are gods in form. We are in that we have been gifted, built in his image. We each hold a piece of that divine spark within us, that is God, to be nurtured. It is that aspect known as the monad. That uses the soul as its vehicle. And our responsibility as personas is to reach up into that soul, or to reach up to connect with that soul, because as we reach up, it reaches down. And that union happens. The divine union happens. And that soul also uses our persona as a vehicle. So when we realize that we are not here of and by and for ourselves, then we realize and know that our focus needs to shift from here, or have a focus here, but also have a focus here. So we become the equal arm cross. With our consciousness right in the center of that cross. Connected to soul and monad, and connected outward to our environment. So our will is derived from the divine spark or spirit that we carry, our monadic connection. Our soul is the vehicle of the monad or spirit, the divine spark within us. I just said all of that. And we, humanity, at this point, living within our persona, are becoming more and more receptive to our soul's contact. It's within our soul that the energy of will is derived. Because, as I said, that divine spark, the monad, uses the will as its vehicle. Our will in itself gives us the power to be. And that's with a capital B. Okay? The will to be. This power to be creates our experiences and provides us our evolutionary growth. The power to be not only creates our experiences, but it provides our evolutionary growth happens as a result of these experiences. The difference between one's power to be and one's will to be is this. The power to be is one's conscious or unconscious intent. Take that inside and just focus on it in your meditative focus just for a moment. The power to be is one's conscious or unconscious intent. It can be conscious and driven, goal-oriented, knows exactly what it has to do. Or it can be completely unconscious. Rolling from one experience into another without any awareness whatsoever that there's these are connecting dots of experiences that are teaching us particular lessons in order for us to move incrementally down that evolutionary path or up through that evolutionary path. The conscious or unconscious ideal directs the will to be. So whether we know it or not, it's the beauty of the dynamic of life, the wisdom behind life, the knowing behind living. That whether we are conscious or unconscious, it doesn't make a difference. Whatever ideal that is we're packing up there directs the will to be. The ideal is the focused intent. That to which we aspire and spend our energies working toward. We focus our energies and our forces into activity according to the ideal. That's the engine, so to speak. We might not even know that we've turned it on, which comes from our will. How our consciousness interprets our spiritual will, that monadic flavoring of the divine within our soul, is dripped into our awareness through our meditations. Thus, we get a sense of the ideal brought down. When it's up in the abstract mind, unless we know how to go and get it, we can't access it. It's just not, it's going to, it'll trickle down through unconscious awareness, okay? Or unconscious intent. So where does thought come from? Thought is said to originate on the plane of the overshadowing soul as an idea. The world of ideas come from the abstract mind. It's a meaning from the abstract mind, where meanings get formulated into ideas that have to do with humanity. So let's break that down a little bit. As I said, unless we know how to go up into the abstract mind and bring down thought, the intent that is birthed usually and takes us through experiences is unconscious, okay? So ideas come from the abstract mind as meaning. That is to say, that when we are moving into the abstract mind, we get a sense of things. We get a sense, we get an energetic awareness that something is there, that something, we will not be words. We will not understand it as word. We'll understand it more so as an energetic. And when we feel into that energetic, when we use our spiritual level of discernment to kind of move into that energetic, I want to say the word pierce, but once we connect with that energetic and begin to sense it, then all of a sudden, words will percolate down. Again, we're not moving any lower than the mind. We're not moving into the concrete throat center. So nothing is discerned from thinking. It's coming from another place altogether. Much higher level. So let me repeat that. The world of ideas comes from the abstract mind. It is a meaning from the abstract mind where meaning gets formulated into ideas that have to do with humanity. This meaning, this energy that we begin to sense is there, that we move up into to be able to bring down what to interpret what is there. Usually have to do with humanity. They don't have to do with us in particular, the individual. Soul is about group. Soul isn't about I. Okay? When we're dealing with meaning coming from the overshadowing soul, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with what is better known as cosmic principles. The soul, the interpreter between the one life and the vehicle of the soul, the persona, creates ideas around cosmic principles that we receive. When through access to higher or abstract mind, we begin to interpret into a form understandable to the persona according to its level of evolution, it relates that interpretation then to its evolving lower self or its vehicle of appearance. So that is to say that that meaning which is translated, so to speak, or precipitated down, translated, interpreted, we then begin to see how it works out in our environment and how it fits in with this that we call ourselves, our consciousness, our awareness, our mental body, our emotional body, our physical etheric body. So how do these ideas, these interpretations, become thought forms in our minds? As we orient to the mental plane, our intuitive faculties develop and our consciousness begins to bridge the gap between the mental plane and the overshadowing soul, the world of ideas, while our consciousness responds to the will to be. So there's a dance that's going on here, right? There's a dance. Okay. We are orienting to the mental plane. And as we do so on a regular basis, more regular basis, our intuitive faculties develop. And a bridge is then created between our mental plane and the overshadowing soul so that there's greater connection. Really what we're doing is building the Antakarana in truth. Okay? Solidifying the Antakarana, because the scaffolding of the Antakarana is already there in all of us. The scaffolding is there. We simply have to put meat, substance, build it. Yeah? So the power of will coming from the center, that is of spirit, divine spark, is then accessed by us as our consciousness responds to the impetus to develop or to evolve. And through conscious use of this energy, decide to be. I will to be. So as that as that bridge is built between the overshadowing soul and the mental plane, the power of will coming from the center of spirit within the soul, or really, no, let's just say it's a monadic center, is then accessed by us as our consciousness responds to its impetus to evolve. And through conscious use of this energy, we decide to be. I will to be, as we get clearer and clearer and clearer. That will brought into focus in the mind allows for three things to occur at one time. Number one, will is magnetic. Let's just hold that in our words. Will is magnetic. Huh? Are we not experiencing that right now in our political landscape? Will is magnetic. Did we not experience, for those who watched the Democratic National Convention last evening, did we not experience the energy, and have we not been experiencing since the switch from Biden to Harris, have we not been experiencing huge doses of the energy of will and its power, its magnetic power? If anyone watched AOC last night, what's her first name? Antonia? AOC. We know who that is. Oh my God, did we not experience the fire of will? It was a hot fire. You could feel the heat of that fire. It was a fire that was extremely magnetic because it just seeped right into the energy of each person. And I mean, people were off their seats from that energy of magnetic will, power of that will. Same with the pastor from Ebenezer Baptist Church, who is a senator. I love that man. So will is magnetic. It attracts all the ideas that are overshadowing directly, and that are okay. It attracts all of the ideas that are overshadowing, that are directly related to the inner ideal, and it holds it in the abstract mind. The consciousness that intuits the idea and interprets it according to its ability to do so and according to its own motivations. So, will, which is magnetic, attracts all the ideas that are overshadowing and directly relates them to the ideal held in the abstract mind. So an ideal is being held within the abstract mind that we may be conscious of or we may not be conscious of. And in our need to understand will and its connection to thought, we are learning that will, when there's an ideal humming, vibrating within our being, which there always is, will attracts automatically everything that is related and connected to that particular ideal. So that ideal is a magnet. All within the abstract mind. The consciousness then, our consciousness, soul, intuits the idea on the level of the monad or on the level of abstract mind, it's an ideal. On the level of soul, it's an idea. On the level of the physical, it's an idol. The consciousness then intuits the idea and interprets it according to its ability to do so, meaning according to its level of evolution and according to its own motivations. Now, guys, I need you to tell me, okay? Because I know I have a tendency to want to explain things ad infinitum, okay? But it's because there's a deep desire or goal to make sure that everyone understands exactly what's going on. I'm speaking not only to the most brilliant student, but also the one who may be last in line, it thinks. Okay? I want to make sure everybody is. So if I am explaining things too much, please let me know. Okay? So let's break this down a bit. All ideas are vehicles of the cosmic principle or meaning. cosmic principle, that aspect of impression that we get from the abstract mind. Because remember, it's not in words, it's just an energy. It's a impression. It really is an impression. Okay. All ideas are vehicles of the cosmic principle or meaning. Therefore, they are not evil. Nothing evil about them. So we can't think of them in terms of duality. There is no duality on abstract mind, within the abstract mind. That tells you a lot right there. But their interpretations, that means that it's already percolated down from the abstract mind to be able to interpret it, according to the motivations of the persona, can be distorted. So once it gets to our filter, which is our conditioning, from our conditioning, that's when the interpretations can be turned and shifted. Okay? The persona will always color the original meaning in some form, in some way. Once on the level of the persona, okay, so it's dropped down from that higher level where things are interpreted, drop down from the level of soul. Once on the level of the persona, there will always be some form of discoloration to the original idea. So the impression, the cosmic principle, is non-dual. Once it moves into the energy of soul and it's interpreted, and it moves down into the level of the persona, where conditioning exists, our coloration, our view, our prism of the world, okay, our environment, then that original pristine, non-dual concept can be discolored. Will always will be discolored in some way. And discolored doesn't mean negative. Let's just say it will be colored by our frequency. Truth, and thus reality, always loses something of itself as it takes on the clothing. Whether that clothing be an idea, a thought, a feeling, or a deed. Put a star by that. Will, being magnetic, attracts not only vertically, but also horizontally, so that any other thoughts that are gyrating around in the consciousness will have a relationship to that ideal. So, will is magnetic. We said that. We've been saying that. It attracts vertically and it attracts horizontally. So that any other thoughts gyrating in the consciousness of that particular tone, flavor, color, vibration will have a relationship to that ideal. And I want to say this also includes experiences and people that we connect with as a result of whatever idea it is that we're holding. Okay? All these thoughts are magnetically attracted into the activity. The creativity of will in the mind. This is point number 2. The first one was that will is magnetic. Number 2 is will in the mind is creative. All related thoughts that are attracted to this magnetic energy of will are assembled by the consciousness, and the salient ones, the most important ones, are assembled into a thought form. And that thought form emerges in the mind of the thinker. And it will emerge as a thought. Or if the person is highly developed, it will emerge as into a plan, not just a thought, but a whole plan, A to Z. Point 3. The will then directs the energy into force, substance, and finally into that reflection in time and space, manifestation. Remember, energy follows thought. I'm going to add to that. I just want you to hold these 3 statements in your awareness. I think I've given them to you before, but they're good to dwell on, meditate on, each one individually or all of them all together. Energy follows thought. Thought follows attention. And recognition produces relationship. Take those into your mind. Right now, we're only going to deal with energy follows thought. Okay? A thought is a potential feeling, act, and an effect in appearance. A thought is a potential feeling, a potential act, and it is an effect in appearance, okay? A manifestation. So once one focuses the will in the mind and the creative or form-making process begins, energy turns into force on astral levels. So energy, the potential of a thing, turns into force, the activity of the thing. And then it turns into substance, or on etheric levels, okay? Substance on etheric levels. That means just before it becomes manifest. Everything has percolated down, and we're getting to that point of manifestation. But just before, we humans have an emotional reaction to the form-making process. Everything that we've been talking about is all about what we call the form-making process. We have an emotional reaction to this because it's just our nature. Up until a certain point of development to emote. Know that these emotional reactions and these emotional reactions, by the way, are needed. It's part of, remember, the astral body, the emotional body, is the power factor of manifestation. Never forget that. So, in the form making process, at some point, the aspect of emotion is extremely important, right? Since it's the power factor of manifestation. So here we are on the etheric level, before substance becomes manifest. We, humans, human beings, have an emotional reaction to the form making process. Our reactions can either assist or impede successful manifestation of what it is we're seeking to create. If our emotions are negative, they conflict with the idea or render the hope of a successful manifestation stillborn. We miscarriage. We can miscarriage based on our an emotional reaction that is against, the antithesis to, that which it is we're seeking to manifest. This thought form building process is carried out by few in the world. Okay, Einstein, Carl Jung. I'm sure there are a bevy, and I know there are a bevy of fantastic thinkers, those on the level of thinking. I just happen to name two that I know offhand because they're spoken about the most. But I would render to say Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Angela Davis, and I'm going to be looking for the African ones. I know that there are many of them there that have not been given the attention that they deserve. Those that do are thinkers and leaders of the human race. That's why it's important. And know that we are all gravitating, albeit seemingly slowly, but we're according to the divine plan, according to our evolutionary development. Okay? Those beings, they're moving through the third and fourth initiations. Okay, they've been around a piece in the evolution, in the incarnational process. They've been around many, many, many times. Okay, this is something that's developed over lifetimes. This thought form building process is carried out by few in the world. Those that do are thinkers and leaders of the human race. But know that this territory is available to all of us and will be available to all of us as we anchor ourselves more and more on the mental plane. Most of what we receive as thoughts are recycled from the race mind of humanity, okay? We get these thoughts, we think they're ours. Little do we realize that we're simply receiving and regenerating, recycling really, old thoughts, putting our colorizations on them, thinking that they're our own, and thus we're still being led by others. The good news is that humanity is now building its own mental body to be utilized as we've evolved vastly over the last hundreds of years. We are ready for the mental plane now, and the world of thought is impacting humanity in ways that it never did before. Thus, the ongoing Third World War that I believe that we are already in is ensuing presently for the mind of humanity, making it difficult for us to discern truths, reality. And add now to that AI, and you see what it is we're up against. We see the rapidity of change that we're experiencing in our world, the constantly changing beliefs at such a rapid pace that we've never before experienced. We always hear, and I always repeat, we are in uncharted territory for a reason. Humanity is now moving into its adulthood, and discernment is key, absolutely necessary. We must understand and sense and believe that this movement is part of the divine plan for humanity, as it is the growth and development of our consciousness. That which is being developed, our consciousness, that which is being developed within the body of humanity. We talked about previous solar incarnations. Okay, this particular one is about the development of consciousness. The previous one, the emotional body. The one before that, if I remember correctly. Okay. Yes. So, the physical body. We are learning that up until now, all that has separated us, all that has been the cause of separation, has been emotionalism, greed, hate, fear, ambition, desire, self-servingness. And all of that diminishes and destroys us. It keeps us separated. We've learned that emotion is in itself a power to be utilized to create in our world for constructive purposes. Remember, as I said earlier, it is the power, emotion is the power factor of manifestation, not a tool for reaction as we have always used it, simply because we were never trained to use it in any other way. Our world was programmed not to educate the mind, but to create workers for industry. And they still are trying to dumb us down. We, humanity at large, have a duty to the onward movement of our evolution. We are in a crisis right now of evolutionary impact. We must control our feeling nature by using reason. Yes. We must learn to discern. Reason. Reason is an aspect of love. love wisdom. And when I talk about love, I'm not talking about the sentimental love. I'm talking about love as a construct, love as an aspect of the divine. It means more than what it is we know. It is the essence of energy that unifies us and connects us to each other. Love is the energy of our solar system and our cosmos. We are always being absorbed by, penetrated with, surrounded by, living within, living, existing, and being within the energy of divine love. It's everywhere. Even when the most abhorrent being is in their element, doing whatever it is they do, at the core of their very being is a soul that is having as much difficulty with that energy, that persona that is its vehicle, as we who are observing it are. As is evident in every strata of our world, there is a movement of trying to push us back 50 to 100 years, it seems, within a blink of an eye, seeking to dismantle at every turn anything that looks like liberation, freedom, autonomy, sovereignty, authenticity. There is an attempt to numb our minds and dumb our minds. But here's the truth. Nothing can stop the evolutionary forward movement of humanity. Nothing can stop it. Okay? Rest assured in that truth. There is much, much more ahead of us as the human race for us to learn. What we must learn is easily summed up in the words of the Golden Rule. It also includes aspects of cooperation, respect, connection, appreciation, integration, unity, an awareness of our oneness. On soul levels, and an awareness, therefore, of our oneness on the physical level, emotional level, mental level. We are sisters and brothers, regardless of the colors of our stripes, so to speak. We are the family of man. We are not hostile to anyone. We treat each other as brothers and sisters. We honor each other as souls. We embody love. And through that embodiment, we demonstrate it. It flows out into our world. We are not going back. So we must learn to think correctly and creatively. We must embody and bring the ideas that overshadow us, which are the ideas of the new Aquarian age, into our minds and formulate the planned activity for the new civilization seeking to be birthed at this time. Backwards is not the direction of humanity. It can only be forwards into the new. Are you ready? Let's go. I know this has been a lengthy one. I hope it is one that can be utilized because it's understood and it's embodied. Until next time, much love.